Facebook lookalike audiences are one of the best ways to reach new customers and grow your business. Let me explain exactly what a lookalike audience is. Okay, so a lookalike audience is really quite simple. Now, it's like the name sounds like. A lookalike audience is an audience that Facebook uses that looks alike to provided data that you give it. So, the most common lookalike audiences are built using customers or leads. So, imagine you have your existing list of customers right here, right? So, these are happy little customers, right? Just to kind of illustrate this for you, right? So you have your couple of customers right here. And now Facebook requires you to have a minimum of 1,000 data points or 1,000 customers or leads to upload. So keep that in mind. You need that minimum in order to create a lookalike audience. Now, essentially what you do when you have that, you go ahead and upload this small list here of your customers, right? And then what you do is you give Facebook this information. So it has information on these people. If you give it their email, their phone number, right? Their first and last name, right? Maybe their address. Facebook will get all this information and it will actually figure out who these people are, what their Facebook user profile is, and then it will go ahead and find people that are similar to these people that you've actually uploaded in this list. And it'll find people that also have similar interests to them, and it'll find a very large pool of people that you can find. You'll give it a small list like this, and then what it'll do is it'll go out and give you a list of thousands and thousands of people, a much bigger list. Imagine all those little dots are people, right? A much larger list of millions and millions of people that you can target that are all similar to this much smaller list of people that you provided. And what you can do is either a 1% list. So these would be people that are exactly closest to this list right here. And it's much smaller, right? Typically less than 1 million people, depending on your country, or 1 million people, right? All the way up to 10%, right? And 10% is even larger. And this goes even up to, like 10 million plus people, depending on how many countries you're targeting, right? And again, these are all little people here. So you're going to target a ton of different people. So that's essentially what a lookalike audience does. And now let me go into Facebook and show you exactly how to set up a lookalike audience. Okay, so what you're going to want to do in order to create your first lookalike audience is when you're in your actual ad account. So I'm in one of my ad accounts right here for Jetstream. What you're going to want to do is in the ad account, go over the list here and you'll see an audiences section. So click on that audiences section. This is also where you're going to create your audiences for any retargeting campaigns that you have. And you can see I already have a couple things here like website visitors, and I actually have this 10% lookalike audience targeting IG followers for Jetstream. So in order to create a lookalike audiences and all the different possible lookalike audience combinations, when you're in here, just go ahead and click on create audience and then go click on lookalike audience. So when you click on lookalike audience, it's going to select your audience source. Now, the most common one to use is going to be your Facebook pixel. So if I go over to here and I go to our pixels, I'm going to select my Jetstream pixel right here. And as you can see, if we go to website right here, what you can see is you have website or physical store. So in most cases, you're going to select your website, and then you can go click on other, and then you can see all the different options that you have to select and create your lookalike audience from. So because Jetstream, we're not an e-commerce site, we don't actually have ad payment info as an event or add cart or view content, etc. And so we don't have any of these events to actually go ahead and create. If I can use another event for this as an example purpose, if I was to use this event, right? And then let's say I wanted to do all products. Okay, so I went ahead and actually switched my advertising account so I could show you what it looks like for an e-commerce brand when you have all those events actually set up. So I'm gonna do the same steps, come over to lookalike audiences here, and then I'm gonna select our actual pixel right here. So when we do that, we do website. As you can see here, we have purchase, which this event is now pulling in. You can see I have 263 purchases in the last 60 days. However, we can do other events here, such as view content, add to cart, initiate checkout in order to pull in enough data. And now what you're gonna need to see is if I go to purchase, for example, and then let's say I try to do, let's see if I can do the United States right here. So if I do United States for purchase, as you can see here, I can do a 1% lookalike audience in the United States, and that would be 2.8 million, right? So if I go to 2%, now you can see this audience does double in size to 5.5 million. So each time you're doing this, essentially what you're doing is you're expanding out. These are the 1% of people that look closest alike to the people that have purchased from you. So these 263 people. When you expand to 2%, now we're including 2% of people are most like this. And then when we go all the way up to 10%, we have 27 million. And this is the 10% of Facebook users that are in the United States that are most like this audience. And so I can go ahead and create this. I don't know if this is actually going to go through. So it did go through. So we actually went ahead and created a 10% lookalike audience using website purchaser, right? And that's essentially how you can go ahead and create lookalike audiences. And you can create lookalike audiences for virtually anything. related to your Facebook data. So if you wanted to create a lookalike audience for, let's say, your Instagram followers to do an Instagram follower campaign, what you could do is go back here. And then first of all, so to create an Instagram follower campaign, right? First of all, you want to create a custom audience for your Instagram account, right? So when you have your Instagram account connected to your Facebook account, you can go ahead and create a actual audience using your Instagram account. And so you have a couple different options here, but you can do anybody who started following this professional account, who is engaged with the post, people who sent a message, people who saved an ad or post. So for this one, I'm going to actually select this, and I'm going to go anyone who started following this account. So people includes people who started following this Instagram professional account. People who unfollow your Instagram professional account will be removed. So this is all followers of my actual Instagram account. So I'm going to name this IG followers Goldilocks, right? So I'm going to go ahead and create this campaign. And as you can see, I created a custom audience for IG followers right here. That's going to populate. And what I can actually do is make a lookalike audience based off of this other source here. Now you can see I have IG followers as the lookalike audience source. And then I can do the same thing here. If I go United States, right, let's say, and Canada, and add both of these in right here, do IG followers. And then maybe I want to do a 5% lookalike audience right here to 15.5 million people. Now, what you can also do is do 6 audiences right here, right? So you could do 1%, you could do 1 to 2%, which is a different audience. You could do 2 to 3%, you could do 3 to 4%, 4 to 5%, and 5 to 6%. So these are all different audiences. And essentially this is the 1% most like your existing followers. This is your 1 to 2%, which is a completely different audience pool. Your 2 to 3%, your 3 to 4%, 4 to 5%, etc. These all have 3.1 million people in it. And you can go ahead and actually create this, and this will create you a bunch of different lookalike audiences. You might get this error sometimes which says audiences can't be created. Your lookalike audience source needs at least 100 people in the same country in your audience location. Please choose a different audience source. So I'm going to go ahead and remove Canada. Let's see if I can create this now. Boom. So let me create that for the United States. And so you can see we have all these different audiences right here. Okay, so those are 2 of the best ways to use lookalike audiences. You can either use your pixel, which will automatically import data from your website and things like that, or you can use custom audiences using your Instagram account or Facebook account or various data that Facebook has on you. Now, as we talked about though, the best way to use lookalike audiences is to use custom audiences and actually use data from your customers and lead lists that you have on your customer data. So you want to do the same thing here, go to custom audience. If you go lookalike audiences right here, you'll want to see create new source, and then you need to create a custom audience in order to use that custom audience of your customers as a actual source. So what you're going to want to do is just go ahead and go to custom audience right here. Go click on customer list here instead of website, Instagram account, Facebook page. You have all these different options right here. So if you wanted to do website, you can easily do that right here, right? And create your custom audience. This video isn't about custom audience creation, but there's obviously all these different settings for custom audience creation. Do the customer list setting right here, go next. And then what you're going to see is you can import this from MailChimp, or if you go next right here, these are the information that's looking for: email, phone number, Facebook app user ID, Facebook page user ID, or first name, last name, right? And some other identifiers that you can have. If you go next right here, what you're able to do is actually upload a list. So I'm going to go ahead and select upload. So as you can see, I've uploaded a list right here. And then you can actually name this audience. So I'm just going to actually leave that as is. And no. So if you have customer value, that essentially means you have revenue that each customer spent with you in this actual list. So if you use Shopify or something like that, I'd recommend you export that and upload this so that you can attribute value to each customer, and Facebook can optimize around that a little bit better. If not, no worries, go no. And then just go next right here, and you can see it's going to automatically pull in their email, their contact owner. I'm going to actually remove this because that's my email. I'm going to remove this as well because that's my email. And then the country, I'm going to leave that in. If you go to actions, you can see all the other different things that you can add in here. So I'm going to add in the first name. I'm going to go ahead and add in the last name. That was not last name. This is the title. Title is not a field that you can upload, so I'm not going to add that in. Last name right here, I'm going to go last name, right? You have the company name, which is not a field. So I'm going to scroll down right here. We have the phone number. So I'm going to go ahead and add in the phone number as well. Okay. Looks like it needs the country code as well. So I'm not going to worry about the phone number. Honestly, this amount of data is perfectly fine. If we just have the first, last name, and the email, we should get most people up on this list. So I'm going to go ahead and import this. And as you can see, this list has now been created. Your customer list has been hashed and uploaded. I only uploaded about 67 people, so not a ton of people. You're going to want to upload a larger list than that in order to create your lookalike audience. Okay, so now that we have uploaded our actual list right here as a CSV with all of our customers, we are good to go ahead and create a lookalike audience from this customer list. So next step to do is all that you've done once you've uploaded this customer list, go to lookalike audiences, click on here, and then go other sources, and then just search for that list that you just created. So I'm going to go Victoria Shopify, right? Select that. And then as we can do now, you want to add in the country location. So for us, I'm going to add in the United States right here for this lookalike audience. And so what it's going to do is take all those customers that you had uploaded into this list. Now it's going to create a lookalike audience like we've just done, but using this actual list, and it's going to create an audience very, very similar to the actual customers or leads that you've uploaded in your target location. So for this one, I'm going to go ahead and create 6, and then I'm going to go create audience. And then as you can see, I've created all these different lookalike audiences now, and I can actually use these in my Facebook ads to target these audiences, which I'll show you quickly right here. Okay, so now that I am in the Facebook ad account, as you can see, I'm creating an ad set test right here. So I'm just going to click on website. I'm going to scroll down, select our pixel, and just select our payment method. I'm going to select purchase right here. Then if we scroll down here, when you go to the audience section, audience controls right here, what you can do is just open this, target the country that you want to target, and then switch to the original audience controls if you have the actual Advantage Plus audience on, which Facebook is trying to push more. And then when you go ahead and use this custom audience section, this is where you want to go ahead and add in that lookalike audience that you just created. So for me, we just created all these different ones. I'm going to go ahead and use this 1% US lookalike audience right here. You can actually remove the countries, so you don't actually need to have any of the locations there when you have a lookalike audience, because it's just essentially a customer list. So you can do that, or you can add in the country that you made the lookalike audience for. So if I want to do the United States, then I can go ahead and do that. And as you can see here, let me just make my head a little bit smaller right here. You can see we're getting an issue here, which is fine. Sometimes it does take a little bit for that to load up, but no worries there. And then you can see you have your age, gender, different placements that you can adjust there. But that's how you go ahead and upload a lookalike audience to go ahead and target, and you can start running ads right to this lookalike audience. Another thing that you can do is actually exclude different audiences as well. If you have a custom audience that you want to exclude, like a purchasers in the last 180 days, and maybe you want to also exclude, a lookalike audience, which I wouldn't recommend, but I suppose you could do that, right? You can add a lookalike audience in here as well to exclude. And that's pretty much everything that you need to know about lookalike audiences. So as you can see, Facebook lookalike audiences are really quite simple and very easy to go ahead and set up. I'd highly recommend that you go ahead and set this up if you have an existing customer list over 1,000 people, or a lead list that you want to use as a lookalike audience to grow your business. Now, if you're interested in how to actually go ahead and advertise, now that you have this lookalike audience that you want to target, I'd recommend checking out some other videos on my YouTube channel. I have a lot of videos on Facebook ads, Google ads, and other digital marketing strategies. So definitely check that out, and leave me a like if you did enjoy this video. I'll leave a link to some other YouTube videos that you can check out from me here. And until the next one, have an amazing rest of your day. Peace.